Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 2K Sports Season Preview Show. I'm Greg Gumbel along with my partner Clark Kellogg, and we're ready to give you your first taste of all the big names and top teams that'll define this season. We're looking ahead to what should be an amazing year in college basketball, so let's take a look at the preseason top 25 poll and see who starts the season at the top of the heap. Here are the Big Five, the top teams in the country as we begin the season. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets come in as the #1 ranked team, followed by Washington, Cal, USC, and Wake Forest. So, Clark, what's your initial impression of our top 5 teams?
Those are some terrific teams, Greg, and the thing I find most fascinating about the top 5 is the number of contrasting styles we see here. These teams couldn't be more different, and I love when we have that kind of diversity at the top of the poll.
The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets are projected as the favorites here in the early going. They've got a whole crew of high school Mr. Basketballs on this team.
A team is usually happy to land one Mr. Basketball, but with the number they have, this could be a golden era of basketball success at this university. There's nothing but good times ahead.
Washington is in the #2 spot. They're playing in one of the toughest conferences in the nation. How should that affect them, Clark?
That'll work to their advantage, Greg, because they'll have been through so many battles by the time March rolls around, tournament pressure won't bother them at all.
Cal comes in as #3. Certainly, they'll get a big boost from the return of their leading scorer from a year ago.
That's a big advantage for them. They don't have to spend the first few weeks of the season searching for that go-to guy. They know who he is, and they'll use him.
USC starts the year as the 4th-ranked team. They had a terrific record last season, finishing with 22 wins.
That says a lot about the team they had last year, but trying to rack up that many wins shouldn't be their goal. They need to focus on just playing good basketball and getting to the conference schedule with a nice head of steam. The wins will come.
Wake Forest is the #5 team. These are the defending national champions, and they're getting a lot of respect going into this season.
Usually, last year's champs get the benefit of the doubt in the first poll of the next season. So we'll find out soon enough if their position in the top 5 is based on reputation or is warranted.
Here's the next group of teams in our preseason top 25. What's your impression of that set of teams?
With such a long season ahead of us, it's almost impossible to put a finger on just who the contenders and pretenders are from this set of teams. But that doesn't mean we won't try.
The West Virginia Mountaineers, the #9 team, have stirred up a lot of talk in the offseason. They lost a big piece of their team with the departure of last season's leading rebounder.
It's going to have to be a group effort on the boards for a little while until some of the younger big men get.
The Kansas Jayhawks, the #10. How about this list?
This is a year, Greg, where I think a few of the teams on this end of the poll really stand out above the others. There are a handful of these teams that are potential sleeping.
The Connecticut Huskies, the UNLV Runnin' Rebels, the #25 team, are also worth keeping an eye on. They were unstoppable last season, finishing with 28 wins.
Winning that many games again is going to be extremely difficult, no matter how much talent they have.
There was no shortage of movement in the coaching ranks during the offseason. There before you are all the new coaching hires in college hoops. There were some intriguing moves made, that's for sure. The Boston College coach is one of the hires that drew a lot of media attention. The Boston College coach Burton also made a move to a new school. We've come to the part of the show when we look at the top players in the nation and unveil the list of our the East Carroll. As for our next first team, next up is a player that's. Let's move on to and finally, now let's move on to the second team All-Americans. Not such a bad list, huh? These elite, the the next player on the team we can all look forward to. Our next All-American may, and here we have the final player on our list. All right, Clark, thanks very much. Glad. Welcome, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel here with my partner, Clark Kellogg. Just ahead on College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. We'll reveal the best of the little guys in our mid-major top 10 list, as well as tell you where the top recruit in the nation is headed. But we begin with a special player who was an easy choice as our player of the week in college basketball.
Bree had one of the best weeks we've seen out of a big man in quite some time. He was sensational this week, not just compared to other centers, but to any other player in the country.
He was playing like a house on fire this week. The performance he gave leads me to believe there might be a few more Player of the Week awards for him in the very near future. He looked like he was enjoying the pressure of carrying his team, so the increased expectations should be no problem for him to handle. Now let's unveil our list of the top 10 mid-major teams in college hoops. These teams could probably hold their own in any of the power conferences if they had the chance.
Top to bottom, they're certainly not as strong as a list of the top 10 major conference teams, but one or two of them have just as much talent as any of those teams, especially the team in the top spot.
Akron is setting themselves apart from the other mid-majors in more ways than one, but what really impresses me is their imposing strength of schedule. They've adopted the anyone, anywhere scheduling philosophy, and it's transformed them into a very dangerous opponent. There's just as much action in the living room as there is in the locker room at this time of year, as college coaches make their pitch to high school stars around the nation in the hope of finding a special player that'll push their program to the next level. The Kansas Jayhawks are already celebrating, and all this is for a player that is yet to set foot on the university's grounds.
Petty John probably has the talent to go straight to the pros, but I'm really happy he chose to go to college, and I know everyone on that campus is thrilled as well. When you think of this program, some of the great forwards in the college game immediately come to mind. I'm sure it's going to serve as tremendous motivation for him to try to join that elite group and perhaps have his number retired right next to all the other elite forwards that have come through those gym doors before him.
That'll do it for us here in the studio. For my partner, Clark Kellogg, I'm Greg Gumbel. Thanks for watching College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto Welcome, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel here with my partner, Clark Kellogg. Just ahead on College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. We'll recap the biggest games of the week, as well as tell you where the top recruit in the nation is headed. But we begin with a special player who was an easy choice as our player of the week in college basketball.
Summers had one of the best weeks we've seen out of a big man in quite some time. He was sensational this week, not just compared to other centers, but to any other player in the country.
I'd be shortchanging his performance if I put a finger on any one aspect of this young man's performance this week because he did so many things well. I'd have to say this is one of the great all-around performances of the year. There truly wasn't anything he didn't do this week at either end of the court. Now, let's turn our attention to some of the action of the past week in the NCAA with our games of the week. We had the kind of upset this week that makes college hoops so unpredictable and so exciting. Portland defeated USC.
No one could have predicted this outcome, Greg. USC was sitting pretty as a top 5 team, but you've got to have some doubts about them after a loss like this. Coon had the hot hand on the winning side. His 11 points led the team. Watching him basically put his teammates on his back and single-handedly carry them to the victory in a big game situation like this was stupendous.
And next up, let's look back on another great contest from the past week. Cincinnati overpowered Georgia Tech.
Well, Greg, this game wasn't decided until that final buzzer sounded. A couple of different bounces one way or the other, and this could have been a totally different outcome. Cincinnati really muscled up down low and was able to convert a lot of easy chances close to the basket. Whether it was the big men or the guards, they made the most of their opportunities. They established their inside presence from the start and were able to rely on getting their points down low throughout the game.
There's just as much action in the living room as there is in the locker room at this time of year as college coaches make their pitch to high school stars around the nation in the hope of finding a special player. Welcome, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel here with my partner, Clark Kellogg. Just ahead on College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. We'll preview some of the biggest games coming up this week in the NCAA, as well as show you the best action from around the nation. But we begin with a special player who was an easy choice as our player of the week in college basketball.
Nuali Atia is our choice this week, and he might be winning an even bigger award at the end of the year. There's a lot of talk about him as a player of the year candidate.
He was playing like a house on fire this week, Clark. The performance he gave leads me to believe there might be a few more Player of the Week awards for him in the very near future. He looked like he was enjoying the pressure of carrying his team, so the increased expectations should be no problem for him to handle. Now let's take a look ahead to the games that get top billing on the schedule in the days to come. This should be a terrific matchup. Both these teams are fighting to improve their position among the nation's elite teams, and they're going to have to go through each other to do it.
Wake Forest plays a brand of defense that should make the difference in this game. They are a tough team to score against. And if you don't squeeze the orange, they'll take it. I think they'll be in top form for this contest.
And there's another game on the agenda that's too juicy to ignore. Anytime a pair of top 5 teams squares off, it has the potential for major ramifications when the tournament committee gets together to discuss potential #1 seeds come March.
Washington should come out on top if I had to make a prediction. Their backcourt is so solid this year, and their guards love to get out and run. That gives them a huge advantage in a game that should be as fast-paced as this one will be.
There was no shortage of excitement on the court in the past few days, so let's take a look at our games of the week. We get started with an important conference battle in the Pac-10. Arizona State got by Cal.
The Arizona State Sun Devil made the most of their opportunity to move up, and that's going to serve them very well as we get closer to conference tournament time, even if it's just in seeding position. Arizona State really muscled up down low and was able to convert a lot of easy chances close to the basket. Whether it was the big men or the guards, they made the most of their opportunities. They established their inside presence from the start and were able to rely on getting their points down low throughout the game.
Also on our list of games of the week is a conference face-off in the Pac-10. Arizona overpowered USC.
Both of these teams are jostling for position at this point in the season. We're in that critical part of the year when everybody's trying to get hot before the postseason. Momentum is everything right now. Winkfield took care of business in this one. His 19 points led all scorers. Watching him basically put his teammates on his back and single-handedly carry them to the victory in a big game situation like this was stupendous.
That's our show, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel, joined at the anchor desk by my partner, Clark Kellogg. Next up on College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. We'll reveal which head coaches may be on the hot seat as the season nears its conclusion, as well as show you the best action from around the nation. But first, we give some of the little guys their due respect with our list of the top 10 mid-major teams in college basketball.
Top to bottom, they're certainly not as strong as a list of the top 10 major conference teams, but one or two of them have just as much talent as any of those teams, especially the team in the top spot.
Miami of Ohio has a schedule that rivals that of any of the top power teams. The strength of their opponents has been just outstanding, and that's going to be a huge factor in their ability to survive in March. In playing one of the most difficult schedules in the nation, they've gotten a lot tougher along the way. There are always a number of coaches at this point in the season who are under intense scrutiny from the fans. How big is the hot seat this year, Clark?
It's more like a couch right now, Greg. You know how hard it is to please those alumni.
Coach Tenchin has been a fixture on this campus for a long time now. There have been some good times during his tenure, but the last few months have been painful ones for this program.
Your heart has to go out to him. He'd established a home for himself there, and it felt like one of those situations where he'd be there for a long time. But failure comes just as quickly as success in college basketball, and his inability to shake the program out of its doldrums is probably going to do him in. For a lot of coaches, taking a job at a non-power conference school can be a path to much greater success because so much of the credit goes to the coach at this level. Unfortunately, he didn't get those handful of upsets over big schools that could have singled him out, and now he may be on his way out.
Now, let's turn our attention to some of the action of the past week in the NCAA with our games of the week. We had a pair of top 25 teams in an old-fashioned grudge match. Arkansas got by Auburn.
It was a real treat to see these teams both come to play in what turned out to be a fantastic game. They showed us why they deserved their spots in the top 25. This was an entertaining and fun game to watch. Arkansas played some absolutely stifling defense. They made the guys on the other side work for every basket, and you can see that reflected in the shooting percentage. They never let up on the defensive end. That really took the pressure off the offense and allowed them to dictate the tempo of the game. To me, that was the biggest factor.
Also on our list of games of the week is a conference face-off in the SEC. Vanderbilt knocked off Mississippi State.
Both of these teams are jostling for position at this point in the season. We're in that critical part of the year when everybody's trying to get hot before the postseason. Momentum is everything right now. Kouyaté had the hot hand on the winning side. His 17 points led the team. Watching him basically put his teammates on his back and single-handedly carry them to the victory in a big game situation like this was stupendous.
That'll do it for us here in the studio. For my partner, Clark Kellogg, I'm Greg Gumbel. Thanks for watching College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by Welcome to the 2K Sports Studios. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with my partner Clark Kellogg. Coming up on College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. We'll preview some of the biggest games coming up this week in the NCAA, as well as show you the best action from around the nation. But we begin with a special player who was an easy choice as our Player of the Week in college basketball.
Foster is our choice this week, and he might be winning an even bigger award at the end of the year. There's a lot of talk about him as a Player of the Year candidate.
No argument here. He was red hot with a total of 62 points. He simply could not be stopped. His touch around the basket was so silky, it had to make you think of some of the college game's great all-time scorers. I think we're going to see a few records in this young man's hand by the time all is said and done, if this gives you any indication. Now let's take a look ahead to the games that get top billing on the schedule in the days to come. The conference tournaments are upon us, and no matchup looms larger. This game is a crucial grudge match between a pair of the best teams in the SEC.
Kentucky should come out on top if I had to make a prediction. Their backcourt is so solid this year, and their guards love to get out and run. That gives them a huge advantage in a game that should be as fast-paced as this one will be.
And we have another upcoming contest that promises to be a classic. This conference tournament showdown should have more action than a typical game between these teams in the Pac-10.
Arizona State would be my pick here. They are so strong on the inside that I believe they'll be just too tough to match up with. It would really surprise me if that talent discrepancy on the inside doesn't tell the tale of this game.
Now, let's turn our attention to some of the action of the past week in the NCAA with our Games of the Week. We had a pair of top 25 teams in an old-fashioned grudge match. Wake Forest beat Georgia Tech.
It was a real treat to see these teams both come to play in what turned out to be a fantastic game. They showed us why they deserved their spots in the top 25. This was an entertaining and fun game to watch. Wake Forest was deadly from long range. Their three-point shooting made a huge difference. I don't know if they came into this game with a plan to attack from long range, but that's definitely the way it turned out. And when you keep knocking down threes again and again like they were, it just deflates the opponent.
Also on our list of games of the week is a conference face-off in the Pac-10. USC did away with Cal.
The USC Trojans made the most of their opportunity to move up, and that's going to serve them very well as we get closer to conference tournament time, even if it's just in seeding position. Flowers was a man possessed. His 23 points led all scorers. They needed an effort like that to get this win. He saw all sorts of defensive looks, but no matter what they threw at him, he handled it and handled it well.
That'll do it for us here in the studio. For my partner, Clark Kellogg, I'm Greg Gumbel. Thanks for watching College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. Enjoy the exciting week of college hoops action to come. It is an annual rite of spring, bringing with it excitement and emotion that can be found in no other sporting event, the NCAA tournament. Your wait is finally over, the brackets are ready, and the drama of March Madness is about to begin. Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel, and this is the NCAA Championship Basketball Selection Show, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. Joining me at the anchor desk, as always, my partner, Clark Kellogg. We're all set to show you the seedings and pairings, so get out your bracket sheet, get those pencils ready. Here are the basics. Of the 65 available tournament bids, 31 are automatically given to conference champions. The tournament committee hands out the remaining 34 bids on an at-large basis. An opening round game will take place on Tuesday night to narrow the field to 64 teams. But before we unveil the brackets for this season, here's a look at the final top 25 media poll of the season. There are a couple of major changes in the rankings as March Madness approaches. The Mississippi State Bulldogs fell all the way from the number 9 spot to number 15.
That's not the direction you want to be going at this time of year, but they're a strong enough team that I believe they can turn it around.
Also, a new team has fought its way into the top 25. The Nebraska Cornhuskers break into the poll as the number 25 team. Now let's take a look at the NCAA tournament bubble and see which teams are sitting at home with their fingers crossed, hoping to see their name in the brackets. There are a lot of worthy candidates among these 10 teams. Clark, which of these bubble teams stands out to you right now?
LSU has been up and down this year, and it's a matter of which part of their schedule the committee wants to look at, the up part or the down part.
You got that right. And who else might be in the same position?
Southern Miss could have sealed their invitation with a better regular season finish, but the fact is they play in a very tough conference, and that does weigh heavily in their favor.
I'm sure it's been a long week for those teams, but the wait's almost over. The NCAA Selection Committee has finished its meeting, and we're ready to unveil the top 4 seeds in this year's tournament. The Washington Huskies are the top overall seed, and they will play in the Charlotte Regional. They begin the tournament as the dominant team in college basketball. They've been ranked number 1 in the media poll for the past 9 weeks. We'll soon find out if they can live up to their billing. On to the second number 1 seed, who will play in the Houston Regional. The Memphis Tigers are seeking their first ever NCAA championship. The Vanderbilt Commodores are our third number 1 seed, and they'll play in the Detroit Regional. They return to the tournament after not making the field last year, so this will be a new experience for some of their younger players. And finally, our fourth number 1 seed will play in the Phoenix Regional. The USC Trojans are in the tournament field as a number 1 seed for the first time in the history of their program. Now, here's how the brackets shape up based on where the number 1 seeds have been assigned. In one national semifinal game, the winner of the Charlotte Regional will play the winner of the Houston Regional. In the other semifinal game, the winner of the Detroit Regional will play the winner of the Phoenix Regional. Those games will be played on Saturday, March the 31st. Then it'll be on to the national championship game on Monday night, April the 2nd. Any surprises in there for you, Clark?
Well, when you see the selection committee deviate from the top 4 teams in the media poll, it's a little surprising. They've opened themselves up to some criticism with these picks.
So, with the number 1 seeds out of the way, it's finally time to tackle the rest of the brackets. First up, we take a look at the Charlotte Regional. The Washington Huskies are the top seed, finishing at 28-3. They were winners of the regular season championship in the Pac-10. They will take on the winner of the opening round play-in game between the Citadel with 12 wins and Fairleigh Dickinson from the Northeast Conference. And now, the number 8 seed, the Massachusetts Minutemen, come into the tournament after finishing second in their conference during the regular season and were semifinalists in their conference tournament. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the Stanford Cardinal, who were second in their conference, finishing at 18-11. Florida State enters the field as the number 4 seed from the ACC. This is their 15th appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed, the Marist Red Foxes. Finished the season with 20 wins.
The Florida State Seminoles are a team that is just so powerful and strong up front. I would put their front court up against just about any other teams in the nation right now. It's always good to have strong guard play, but if you ask most coaches, I guarantee you they take the good big man over the good little man most times. Their interior play should serve them very well in this competition.
Georgia Tech comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 19-9. And they will take on the 12th seed from the Missouri Valley Conference, the Creighton Blue Jays, with 18 wins. Next up is the number 2 seed. The Arkansas Razorbacks have established themselves as one of the best teams from the SEC. They'll be going up against the number 15 seed, the Hawks of Maryland Eastern Shore, with 19 wins. This will be their second appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. Our number 7 seed is from the A-10 Conference. The Richmond Spiders were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the big dance. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, who were 4th in their conference, finishing at 18 and 11. West Virginia comes in as the number 3 seed, finishing at 25 and 8. Army comes in to face them at number 14 with 18 wins in the tournament championship of the Patriot League. The UCF Golden Knights are in as the number 6 seed. They'll be taking on the number 11 seed, the Miami Hurricanes, with 20 wins. Looking into the future a little bit, this bracket looks poised for a titanic matchup in the regional final. If the top 2 seeds can take care of business in the first 3 rounds, we have the possibility of a classic Elite 8 meeting. Next up, we'll take a look at the Houston Regional. The Memphis Tigers are the top seed, finishing at 27 and 6. They were conference tournament champions in Conference USA. They'll take on the Prairie View Panthers, the number 16 ranked team. This will be their second appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. Louisville comes in as the number 8 seed, finishing at 19 and 11. Georgia comes in to face them at number 9 with 19 wins and a legion of loyal fans just dying for some tournament success. UNLV comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 21 and 7. And they'll take on the 13th seed from the Big West, the Titans of Cal State Fullerton, with 22 wins. Texas enters the field as the number 5 seed from the Big 12. This is their 27th appearance in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. They'll be getting ready to face the number 12 seed, the New Mexico State Aggies. Finished the season with 18 wins.
The Texas Longhorns do the one thing that all great teams absolutely must do, and that's play tremendous team defense. These guys have been shutting down opponents all year with a combination of speed, intelligence, and sheer determination. There have been NCAA championship teams of all shapes and sizes, but all of them played good, strong defense.
Our number 2 seed is from the SEC. The Alabama Crimson Tide were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the big dance. They're going to play the number 15 seed, the Tennessee Tech Gold. Next up is the number 7 seed. The Fordham Rams are the conference tournament champion. The Providence Friars are in as the number and now the number 6 seed, the Oklahoma Sooners, come into the tournament after finishing 7th in their conference. On the surface, I'd have to say this regional might be the most difficult. On to our third bracket of the day. The Vanderbilt Commodores are the top seed, finishing at 25. And our number 8 seed is from the Big East. The Reds. Auburn enters the field as the number. The Cincinnati Bearcats are in as the number. Texas A&M comes in as the number 2 seed, finishing at 23 and 9. TCU comes in to face them at number 15 with 15 wins in the tournament championship of the Mountain West Conference. Next up is the number 7 seed. The Kentucky Wildcats have established themselves as one of the best teams from the SEC. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the Iowa Hawkeyes, with 19 wins. They return once more to the very familiar surroundings of the NCAA tournament. And now the number 3 seed, the Mississippi State Bulldogs, come into the tournament 5th in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 14 seed, the Albany Great Danes, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 21 and 9. Villanova comes in as the number 6 seed, finishing at 19 and I think this could wind up being the bracket that brings us this year's Cinderella story. A few of the higher. And finally, let's have a look at the Phoenix Regional. The USC Trojans. Next up is the number 8 seed. The South Carolina Gamecocks have established themselves as one of the best teams from the SEC. They'll be going up against the number 9 seed, the Red Hawks of Miami of Ohio, with 21 wins. This will be their 20th appearance all time in the NCAA tournament. Cal comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 19 and 10. Coastal Carolina comes in to face them at number 13 with 17 wins in the tournament championship of the Big South. Nebraska comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 24 and 10. And they will take on the 12th seed from the Mid-Continent Conference, the Southern Utah Thunderbirds, with 24 wins. Wake Forest enters the field as the number 2 seed from the ACC. This will be their 23rd appearance in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. They'll be getting ready to face the number 15 seed, the Wisconsin-Milwaukee Panthers, finished the season with 16 wins.
Wake Forest Demon Deacons have been here before and know how to win in the tournament, so they have a very good chance to go a long way. The memory of their last trip to the Final Four is still fresh in their minds, and you can't put a price on that kind of experience, even for the guys who were just watching from the bench last time around. I think that gives them a huge edge.
And now the number 7 seed, the Penn State Nittany Lions. The Boston College Eagles are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed. Our number 6 seed is from the Big. There are going to be some. What are your thoughts on our top 16 seeds, Clark?
The Boston College Eagles are a surprise to me as a 3 seed. They weren't quite strong enough to warrant that kind of position. They were more suited to get in as a 4 seed. Cal is a team I wouldn't want to face, even though they're down there as a number 4 seed. I think they've got the potential to be a Cinderella team.
Now, let's bring the conference picture into focus. The SEC gets 8 teams. The Big East with 6, 5 out of the Pac-10. The Big 12 gets 5 teams.
What a down year for the non-power conferences. We're used to seeing at least one of those conferences compete on the level of the power conferences, but not this year.
It's too bad. We showed you the bubble teams before. Now that we know who's in and who's out, what do you think of the selections, Clark?
Washington State made it into the field probably because of their major conference affiliation. Their win-loss record isn't outstanding, but the bottom line is they play the top competition week in and week out, and that counts for a lot.
While they start prepping for their first-round games, the 5 teams on the other side of the page will be full-time students again.
Dayton can look back at their schedule this year if they're looking for a reason they got snubbed. They played very few difficult teams outside their conference, and the strategy backfired on them.
All right, Clark, now that we know all the teams and matchups, time to get the tournament underway and let the madness take over.
Greg, let's throw the ball up right now. I can't wait to get started. I hope this is an NCAA tournament that gives a lot of those special moments that stay with us for years to come.